Good evening, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon. This is Richard Bonell and Michelle King from Australia. Tonight we've got a lot of interesting stuff to share with you tonight. Just before we start, I just want to let you know that anything that you hear on tonight's webinar is not financial advice. It is purely a partner-run webinar just to give people a general overview and give you some ideas to seek professional advice in the future with any of your accountants or financial advisors. So I've got some news tonight. With the Unitex, we currently have found there's a bug of placing crude to sell at 13 cents and over. So at the moment, the highest we can place crude for sale is 12 cents. And it seems like there's something stopping us from going higher than that at this stage. So it has been raised with Maria and her IT team, and they are aware of this. So it is being working on. So I just want to let you all know this so you can not complain about it or fill the chats up with this same thing, but it is being worked on for us. The vintage staking also has a bug. It's been resolved by the IT team. There is a problem where I know there's a handful of people that have received a vintage staking at this stage, but there's a lot that haven't. It has to do with the refresh button that is being working on by the IT team, so they do know about it and it will be resolved shortly. I don't know when, I haven't been given a date, but it is going to be resolved soon. So tonight I want to elaborate it more about what I spoke about last week on smart contracts, and because as we go further with Crew and Align, there's going to be a lot of smart contracts put in place that will make things function. And people hear that term smart contracts and they still really don't know what it is and how it works and why they've been implemented and, you know, why isn't it being approved by managers or leaders or whatever. So tonight I want to go into a little bit deeper tonight on some of the I'm going to show you some code behind a smart contract. I'm going to put my geek hat on as an IT person and show you what happens behind closed doors with the whole code thing. I know Richard really loves looking at the code. So what is a smart contract? It's a little program that it sits in the background on the blockchain, and it is an agreement between the buyer or seller or buyer, and it's run by a program. So smart contracts ensure trusted transactions are carried out with the need for a central authority, legal system or external enforcement. And as I move along, you'll see why this is a good thing to have. So how does this benefit us? For one thing, the smart contract, they're all the same as standard. So when a programmer creates a smart contract, they'll have all the different rules on, you know, it's got to be this and that it happens, you charge that, and it's the same process. So whether I'm in Australia or in India or the UK or America, it's the same rules for all of us. So this is a really big benefit for us as a community. It's also a massive cost-saving feature. So when a smart contract is put in place, the administration is totally cut down. So it's all automated. And no one can sort of, go to somebody else and get a favour done and, get a little bit more or a little bit less or an extra charge. So it's actually a very fair system to have into our blockchain. The really good thing about it, it cannot operate 24/7 unless it's programmed not to, but usually smart contracts will run 24/7. And they also render transactions, they're transparent, they're traceable, and they're irreversible. So once a transaction goes through a smart contract, you can't go back. So it is a set agreement between you and the system, and once you execute it, there's no human intervention to be able to take that back. And I'll come to why this is important to understand. So I'll go into a traditional contract. We have the two parties or partners that execute a contract. So you would have terms and conditions that are written in here. Then it goes to a third party, like a solicitor or a business person or finance broker, and then it's executed. So that's the general stages of a traditional contract that we all know. Now, what goes in here can be really interesting, because that could be clauses that you may not understand. And I mean, I'm sure all of us have signed contracts that we don't exactly understand 100%. We just go bang, sign it, let's move on to the next thing. And sometimes, you know, if you're unlucky, that can come back to bite you. So I'm going to show you the difference between a traditional contract and a smart contract. And this one I really like, because it really allows companies to create a standard that you cannot go out of. So, for example, if you had a traditional contract, there could be really good accountants that can find ways to get around it, or a lawyer that can get you out if it doesn't quite work, and then, you know, it can become quite messy. But once you actually sign a smart contract, that's it. Once it's executed, it's it. There's no going back. The execution time can take days, 1 to 3 days, months even, but in a smart contract, it's very quick. Remittance is a manual process, where a smart contract is an automatic process. Transparency, that can be unavailable, and that goes back to all these little clauses lawyers can put into contracts, and, you know, the average person has no idea what they are. Whereas in a smart contract, you can actually find out what's in your smart contract and look it up before you execute it, if the companies give you, and most companies will give you access to do that. Archiving, that's difficult. If it's paper, you could have, it could be stored in, you know, tons and tons of paper, which can be difficult to find. Smart contract that's on the blockchain, it's really quick to retrieve. It has to be. Security is limited. So this is a really big one, because a traditional contract can be copied, it can be scanned, it could be sent to someone via email, it could be lost, it could be given to somebody else, and those details can be made very public. Where it's with a smart contract, it's secure. The cost is expensive for a traditional contract. It's really cheap for a smart contract, because it's the same thing over and over and over. The signature is a manual process, and the smart contract is a digital, usually your wallet name, that it acts as your signature, so that it becomes a stamp on your smart contract or your blockchain address. So this is my favourite. I'm giving a real life example of how a smart contract will work, and I love chocolate, so I'm just going to do it with the chocolate vending machine. So hypothetically, you're on a train station, it's 11 o'clock at night, and bang, you have the chocolate craving come in. So you see your favourite vending machine there, and you've got all your chocolate bars, and you're going, oh, which one do I have? The cost of it is a $2 note, or a $2 coin, or a note, depending on what country you're from. You pop it in, you hit the little button, and then automatically your favourite chocolate comes out, it pops out, and there you have it. Now, what happens to that chocolate is you can't actually take it back to the first step and put it back into the vending machine. You've got your chocolate bar, you've paid for it, the sale and contract has been done, and you cannot go back to shove that chocolate bar back in the vending machine and get your money back. And I love this example, because that really sums it up on a basic level of how a smart contract works. So why am I talking about smart contracts? Because those of you who have crew in the conversion zone, the fee price cannot be changed individually. So on chats, like there's a lot of discussion about, oh, it costs this and it costs that, and, but no one can actually go in and reduce that fee for you without reducing the whole company, the whole thing. So you're not actually being singled out and going, okay, we're going to get that person and we're going to up that price, and that person's going to have a lesser price. It's right across the board. So if you've got crew in the conversion zone and you haven't gone to that next step and converted it, that's why the fees are at the level they are, because the smart contract is dictating the price. Now, Richard will go on to why that is happening, and he touched on that last week, but this is the reason why I'm talking about smart contracts and why the support can't just drop the price overnight, because it's a whole programming thing. The best option that the IT department can do for us is put a cancel button in. Now, we've been heard. This is being discussed. It is being, Maria has said to us in the Tasting Exchange group that that is going to be looked at and implemented, but it will be a few weeks away. It's not an easy process. And I will show you why and what they have to go through and why it's not something they can do tomorrow. So I just want you all to be patient with that, because I know there's a lot of stress about people that have got crew in the middle and they just haven't gone to that next step. They're worried about, but I just want to let you know tonight that that has been addressed and that the company has heard that, and will be putting a cancel button, because technically, while it's sitting in that state, it hasn't been executed because you haven't paid the fees. The minute you pay the fees, there's no going back where you can get a refund on your money and take it back to crew. So I'm going to show you the next part is the code and why, how Unitex is built with the code behind it. And it's not an easy process to change anything. So you know how we all are on chats and we go, oh, we should have this and we should have that, and you know, we're all discussing. We've got to remember that Unitex has been built by our company for us. So with any program, it is going to take a little while to get 100% perfect. And a good example to look at that is if you have Microsoft Windows, every couple of days you're getting updates for bugs, and they just roll it out and it's updated. And that's no different to what's going to happen with Unitex or any other exchange. There's always going to be security updates and bugs that are going to be resolved, and so it'll just keep going on and on and on. So this is my favourite part, the code. This is actually real code from, it's a programming language called Solidarity. I don't know if this is the code behind our smart contracts in our company, but this is a general code that is used for smart contracts on blockchain. And as you can see, you've got all this gibbly gob that goes down here. But if you look here, right, this is a little bit of code. In there, it's got proposal and it's got recipient, amount, descriptions, execution date, executed. That is like a process that happens with any smart contract, and that is what's going on with our crew in the state it's in with the smart contract that it is. So when you get this is not the code for our smart contract, by the way. It's just an example from something I found online, and this will just show you what a programmer has to go through to write that. So I just want you to put in the chat, what if I spelt that word wrong and I'm typing away and I go M-A-N? What do you think would happen to that little part of code there? Do you anyone want to put it in the chat to see what they think would happen? Go on, take a guess. It will be a bug. It will be something that will be an error. Yep, that's correct, Rose. It will fail, Richie. That's exactly right. So when you hear the company saying we've got bugs in our exchange, we are going to have bugs, because this is all typed by people, right? So this is not just one person sitting there typing away. I don't know how many people are on the IT team in our company, but I would suggest it would be at least 10. I'm taking a guess based on my past experience in IT that it would have to be at least 10 or over working on this stuff. And each person would have a little part of it right in that code, and then they would have to merge it together to work. So as you could see, this is why we have bugs and issues going on. And this is another page, and this is like the approval and call. So see there, you've got address vendor, values, bytes, extra data. That's picking up data in their wallet, the blockchain, or whatever they've got. The sender. So you can when you start looking at it, you can actually work it out. But to write it, could you imagine how difficult it is to write this stuff and get 100% correct exchange. It's absolutely impossible. Like, I think I really take my hat off to Maria and the IT team, because they've really done a good job in getting the exchange to where it is, especially with the pressure they want to meet deadlines and to get things. And a lot of the Thai leaders in our company do not know this process behind the scenes on what the IT people are doing. And if you don't know, it's actually really easy to criticise and make negative comments. And but from a programming IT person's point of view, that's really kills your motivation. Like, you see this stuff on social media and you kind of go, oh, you know, like you take it personally because it's your work. And IT people that work in this field take this thing very seriously, and they're sitting there typing all day or all night sometimes, and you know, they really want to get it's like a real win when you get your programming right and working. So I want to just go through a little, this is a very basic strategy on how something would be taken out into Unitex or a smart contract or even our blockchain wallet. First of all, the functionality is designed, so that could be drawn, it could be scoped up on a blackboard or anything like that. Resources are allocated to the project, so this could be the right type of programmer, the cost of the programmers, it could be what tools they need, what computers they need, all kinds of things. The code is written in a beta format, so they start building the code, then it's got to be checked by the IT project manager. This is usually pretty normal. Then it's tested on testing servers before it's actually released to the public. And then once it's all, you know, tick the boxes, then the new functionality is made live. So as you can see, this is why we have delays in so many things in what we currently have. And I can tell you right now from my own personal experience, having my own IT company many years ago, this is a really normal process to go through. Now, how can you help? The best way you can help is to report bugs to support. So rather than post issues on social media or Telegram and go, oh, this is not working, document it. Get a Microsoft Word page, screenshot it, write what time it happened, you know, what happened, screenshot what you were trying to do, and document the issue so it's in a very logical format. And the reason why you document it is, for an IT person to resolve a bug, they have to recreate it themselves so they can see where in that code, because when they find a bug, they've got to go back to this code and they've got to find out what in that code is not working. So when you help them by giving them lots of information or giving support information to pass on to the IT team, you're actually assisting the company and actually helping the company create a much more robust and stronger platform. So finally, what I'd like to end with is the stuff I'm seeing on social media about people posting issues and problems. I really want you to stop doing that and put it on a Microsoft Word document and start submitting it in a very logical format to support, because you will actually be helping the company. And by posting it on social media, there's no one in social media that's going to have access to that code and is going to be able to help resolve that issue for you or anybody else. So the issue has to go directly to the IT team. If you're in our Telegram group and you have a bug, you can send it to me. I can take it to the IT team and give it to either Maria or Dennis is an amazing programmer. He's there and he makes himself available to the exchange testers, and we often give him information on what his issues, and he's off resolving a lot of things. So this is my favourite picture of Richard. So I'm going to finish up on that and say, I hope you all got a little bit of more idea on what is happening behind the scenes, and I hope this is something that I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I hope this is something you can all benefit from and use, and have a little bit more understanding about the company and not be so hard when things don't quite work as well as they should. I hope that helps.
Good on you. Well done. No, I love those. I love those coding pictures because you realise just, you put a comma in the wrong spot, or you double space something, or you single space something that needed to be double spaced, and it
Yeah.
changes everything. And
Oh,
it's
100%.
something as simple as that, and it's just it's great. I love it. All right.
And
Well,
code is like a different language too. So so there's all different codes. So that's another thing that you've all got to remember is it's like someone that can speak beautiful Italian are probably not going to speak beautiful Arabic or French. So that's how it works in the whole programming world. There's all different types of codes. So
okay.
over to Richard. I'm going to mute.
All right. I will take the screen and take it away from you. All right. You can see my screen, Michelle. Good. Let me just move that little man out the way. All right. Okay. Well, this is the continuation of what we started last week, and this was the theme of last week, that even though we all can't join hands right now, we are all in this together. It's not an us and them scenario. It's not the company versus the members or anything like that. We are in this together, and it's something that we need to really understand the importance of it being together. And as we get less confused, there's a lot of confusing in when you talk to people about holding and conversions and staking, and how we do what we got to do when we go forward. So hopefully tonight I can put a slant on things, and just help people know exactly what it is we have, how brilliant it is, and what an awesome opportunity the company have given us, as we do something to help the company. But first of all, we'll just do a very, very quick little recap on what we talked about last week. We know that on the 8th of July, that the company brought out conditional pricing of World Crew. And, it started off at 10 cents, it went to 20, it's now 30. And in a day or two, on the 1st of August, the conditional price of World Crew is going to be 50 cents. And we need to understand why this is important for the company, for the future of the company. We also need to understand how we make Crew fit in with this plan, because the company is giving us a real chance, a huge chance to make a lot of money if we actually see the opportunity in what we're doing. And tonight, I hope with a couple of charts that I show, that people will really understand and see the opportunity the company is giving us. And it all stems back to the words that I've highlighted here, that when someone buys Crew and they wish to convert it to World Crew, they have to pay the difference between the conditional price of World Crew and the market exchange price of Crew. They have to pay. There's no longer the option that we had where we could buy Crew for whatever price we could, and we got some magical flat cheap way to convert it. We now have to pay the difference. And as we look at this presentation tonight, also bear in mind that Crew, unlike World Crew, Crew is still a trade. You can still trade it up and until it gets converted, and we still have the use with Crew to do things peer to peer. So just recapping on that, just by the way of a picture, a buyer will now pay the same price whether A, he buys World Crew from UGPay, or B, he buys Crew from Unitex and then converts it to World Crew. The difference is who makes the money. If he's buying it from UGPay, then they do. But if he's buying it from Unitex, then the people who own the crude being sold, which is us, we get the money. So in 2 days, the conditional price of crude is going to move to 50 cents. Right now, it's 30 cents. And if we were actually selling crude at 30 cents, the market price of crude was 30 cents, we get to keep the entire 30 cents. And the buyer, he just simply converts for the cost of 1%, he converts that crude to world crude. And this was a design to make the capacity of converting crude to world crude as inexpensive as was possible. This was created by the company. So with that little recap, let's sort of look in a little bit more detail is what is the future for the price of crude? There are three things that we as owners of crude, we as co-owners in the company, we need to have, and we're to be able to determine and create a fair and reasonable and good price for crude in the future. And they are, according to Robert Kiyosaki, they are one, what our mindset is. In other words, what value do we actually put on crude? Two, our skill sets. How well are we able to manage crude mentally and emotionally as it sits on our exchange? And three, how well we follow rules. How disciplined are we when we create a strategy for moving forward with crude, whether it's one that we create as a group or individually? How disciplined are we in maintaining that? Because the combination of those three things, mindset, skill sets, and the ability to be disciplined, is the thing that makes the future price of crude positive. In a recent discussion that was posted in one of our groups, a person suggested that a person could actually make more money by collecting bottles from the garbage and recycling them. And so I looked at that, and for Australian situations here in the states and the territories that participate in that program, we get for a recycled bottle, we get 10 cents. And at the time of doing this slide, that was worth 7.381 cents US. And if you look at that conversion of the price of crude, in fact, a bottle in the garbage is actually worth 5.4 crude. And it poses the question, how many exchanges are actually going to even want crude if a bottle coming out of the trash is actually worth more than 5 of them? How many people are actually going to want crude if, again, a bottle in the garbage is actually worth more than 5 crude? And it's something to think about, because the reality is that, in fact, if those people were really switched on, and if exchanges are really switched on, lots of people will. But sadly, and it seems that there's too many of our members think that actually for real, this is where crude should be. And hopefully by the time we've finished this presentation, people will see that that should change. And making money from garbage isn't just an expression or something that people can do. This particular gentleman, Joe Dinser, he's a British billionaire. His first business that he made when he was young, in his 20s, early 20s, his first multi-million-dollar business was from reclaiming junk that he found in people's rubbish. And he was able to build $1 million business from doing just that very thing. So it does come back to this thing about mindset. What is it that we actually think? When we look at the, Andre talks about the investment portfolio, the auditor's report of what the investment portfolio, do we understand what an investment audit is? That it's an audit that says when all of the components of this audit come together and they are performing as it's said in this document, then these numbers that are being presented will actually occur. And we need to have the mindset of understanding that that is where the future of this company is. That is where the future, the possibility of it. We need to have the skill set of being able to look at what's happening with Crew, look at what's happening with World Crew, look at what's happening with the exchange, and know, as Michelle was talking about, understand what goes into fixing the problem, and then having the skills to present the document to the IT team to be able to help them fix problems. And we also need to well and truly understand that if we set criteria, if we set rules, if we set formulas, and we're going to look at one tonight about Crew, that if we set up these rules, we have to have the discipline to actually follow them through. So what do we need to do also to help the price of Crew, help the company lift the price of Crew? Because lifting the price of Crew is going to become very, very, very important. So assuming that we have the right mindset, that we actually have the adequate skills to assess and place exchange orders, and that we maintain the proper discipline in exchange dealings. If we have them, is there more that we need it to do and do specifically for Crew? And there is. And again, there are three things that we need to really deeply come to understand. And the first one is we need to understand the proper concept of scarcity and how Crew is managed. And we need to also understand that Crew has to become something that people desire. We have to create a scenario where people actually want Crew. And we have to create the capacity of people to be able to convert Crew to World Crew, to want it. And we've got to make that as easy as is possible to help people convert Crew to World Crew. So again, just putting those three together, scarcity, desire, and capacity, if we can put them together, if we can start doing that, then we will create something that has a sustainable price growth in Crew. So I'm going to break these down a little bit in more detail, because scarcity first. Scarcity refers to a basic economic problem, which is the gap between limited resources and theoretical limitless wants. And its scarcity is the actual management of a product. Now, staking is the main way our company manages Crew in the marketplace. Staking is a great way to control scarcity, as the item, in this case Crew, wanted to be made less plenteous, can be removed from circulation by staking it and be brought back through either unstaking or paid as rewards as demand for that product rises. But when a reward is redeemed or is paid out and the demand isn't at the level expected, as it is right now, a situation of oversupply is created. But the company have fought that through, and that by the means of staking Crew for UNTB is one of the ways that the company manage this arrangement or this circumstance of an oversupply. And we need to sort of be looking at that and managing and working within that. But unstaking of crew is probably a more responsive way to be to address real demand, as crew can be released within a 72-hour turnaround. The thing that we have to understand at the moment is, due to the lack of parity in the price of crew and the conditional price of world crew, that staking crew for UNTB is going to become very, very popular. The downside of that is that it reduces the returns in earnings on UNTB. So it means that the raising of the price of crew becomes necessary. As we raise the price of crew, it will reduce the requirement to be staking crew for UNTB. A crew exchange market price equal to the conditional price of crew will make the conversion of crew to world crew easier for members, and it also removes crew from circulation, because each time a crew is converted, each time a CAU token is converted, it's burned. And that's what the company wants. So the management, which is the managed scarcity, which is the management of the token crew, is actually made easier with price parity. And it's something that we need to be considering going forward when we're looking at the buying and selling of crew. If we look at the next one of these important things, it's desire. And desire is the burning, almost insatiable need to actually have something. And if we want crew to be looked at by other exchanges, by other people, organisations, even people like CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, we have to produce something worth looking at, first of all. Now, we're often told that it's just a simple matter of economics. You want to mute that? Okay. It's the law of supply and demand. And whilst that's essentially true, it isn't the only thing that we as co-owners and as owners of crew need to be looking at. Because we've been told many times by company leaders is to buy crew and hold it until the price goes up. But just by saying some unique crypto word, that actually doesn't mean that the price just goes up, because there's more to the price going up than just simply buying and holding crew. We need to be actively creating a desire in people to actually own crew, because the desire to own something is a created thing, and it's done to show people that others already own it and they're getting some value from it and they're missing out. And that particular function on an exchange is done by creating what they call volume. To buy and hold crew doesn't in itself create volume. And volume is what you'll see on most exchanges, and it's what people see as well with the price. And good volumes at good prices is what actually creates the desire in institutional investors, in investors of any type. It's what creates the desire to own a token. That because stocks that are adequately supported by strong volumes can be seen as being stocks that are reliable, can be seen as being stocks that will ride out ups and downs. And that's where volume becomes an incredible part of the analysis of a stock. So just to understand how it's created, every time a transaction takes place between a buyer and a seller of a security, that contributes to the volume count of that security. So if there's only 5 transactions that occur in a day, then the volume for that day will be set at 5. And that's irrelevant to the price. It's the volume that we're talking about as a separate component to price. So what are exchanges interested in? Well, we all know what exchanges are interested in. They're interested in fees, because the income from an exchange is created by the amount of a transaction multiplied by the number of transactions that occur in any given day. Because an exchange, in reality, they don't really care whether the price of a token is going up or going down, so long as there is volume, which is what they're earning their money on. So they are always going to look at what is the volume, how many people are interested, is this stock getting bought and sold, is it getting turned over, because that's what they're interested in. And it's not created by people buying CRU and holding it. Investors are exactly the same. You can have a look at a sophisticated investor, an investor that knows what to look at. You can look at a price that is going up and going up significantly. But if that price, if you have a look here, this price, if it has no volume attached to it, nothing here, then it can go down just as quick as it's gone up, because there's no evidence of support of that increased price. So begs the question, how do we generate an upward moving price with volume? Now, this is a formula. It's very, very simple, but it's a low price trading formula where X is the buy-in price, the first buy-in price. Y is the selling price. And it doesn't matter what the percentage is. Obviously, if you've got low prices with low volume, there's no point in having a very big price, because it's not going to be reached and things aren't going to turn over. And volume is looking to create turnover. So in this particular example, I've picked 15%. And Z is the rebuy price, which is a price that's a little bit lower than the Y price. And we're going to see how that works and how that creates price increasing and volume. Because if you take this particular example, and this is if someone had $100 and their first exchange is to buy CRU at 1.32 cents, they would be able to buy 7,576 CRU. If it then grew by 15%, it would go to 1.52 cents. They would then sell that, they would have made their $15, and they would be looking for the next buy-in price at 1.44 cents. So if you look at this over a number of exchanges, when you start to put these together, this is the way it works out, that 1.44 cents, you've got $115 that you can now spend. So you're buying a few more CRU. You buy a few more CRU, and you repeat this same exercise. And you keep doing this. In this example, we do it 4 times. But this is what it creates in volume. In volume, that repeating of you selling those 7,576 CRU 4 times, adding a little bit to it each time, you create a volume of 32,780 CRU being sold over the exchange, even though it's your same 7,576, because it's done it 4 times, plus the just under 1,300 that you're slowly adding to it. That's the volume that is created on the exchange. And you can see the volume in price. Your $100 getting turned over 4 times with that 15% increasing each time it does it, you can see the volume that is created, and it's the volume that is reflected in those volume charts that people look at when they're comparing to price. Now, this is probably a fuller extension of this, that if you looked at the prices that were on CRU, and this is where it becomes important to be matching the price of world CRU. In this example, the conditional price of world CRU, I'm factoring into the equation. We start off with the same numbers, but we increase the price of CRU with the to make it comparable to the world CRU price. And at the end of this set of exchanges, you've actually increased the number of your CRU by 7,182 CRU. You've nearly doubled what you started off with, and this is from an outlay of $100. The money that you have made is you've actually made $607 in this process. That's what you're making in doing this. This is the incredible opportunity that the company has presented to us. If we see it for $100, we get to do this by turning over CRU and following this really, really simple formula. But this is what we do for the company. The volume of these number of exchanges produces 163,868 CRU being exchanged in this exact same period, and $5,123 created in volume of that $100 just getting turned over and turned over and turned over, and increasing by that 15% each time we do it. So we get to make this sort of money. We get to increase our holdings of CRU. We get to make this sort of money while we assist the company in producing volumes that are reflected on the exchange, which when you compare price and increasing price with increasing volume, makes CRU desirable. It makes people want to own it because they're looking at something that's going up in price and up in volume. And that becomes attractive. And that's just one person with $100. If you had, and the example here, I'm not going to go through every one of them, but if you had 300 people doing this, we would turn over in volume 49 million CRU. We would turn over in dollars $1.5 million. And we could do this over and over with 700, with 1,500. And when we start producing these numbers, then that's what people see. That's what's seen on CoinMarketCap. That's what other exchanges look at. That's what people who are looking for things to invest in, that's what they look at. This is how we create desire. We show people that we already have it, that people already own it, and they're missing out by not having it and not participating in it. And that's the value of creating volume. That's the value of buying something and turning it over, and not necessarily just buying it and holding it. And CRU price is created, the desire is stimulated and is grown by price parity, by us matching the price. Because remember, people, if they're buying world CRU, they have to pay this price. They have to pay the price that is the conditional price of CRU from UGPay. They don't have a choice. But where they buy it from is the choice. And if we can create something, we can create the desire in crude, because remember, crude is something that is retradable up and until it becomes converted. Then it's got to go through the process of being frozen. So people can convert, they can buy, they can rebuy, they can sell, they can rebuy crude up and until they decide to convert it. And if we bring up that price, we bring up the last part of this exercise that we need to be aware that we can control, and that's the capacity. We improve the capacity of people to be able to convert crude to world crude by bringing up that price. We know that the company dropped the price of world crude down to 10 cents. Now, unfortunately, we didn't take advantage of it and lift the price of world crude, lift the price of crude, to match it. And maybe the mindset, maybe we didn't have the mindset, maybe we didn't have the skill set to understand what the company was actually doing for us. And so we've created a bit of a rod for our own back that we need to now address. Because like I say, in a couple of days' time, the conditional price of world crude is going to go to 50 cents. So we have some work to do. But the current price of crude, the actual current price, is at such a rate that the capacity for us to jump in and start doing that very simple formula, and it's not so much the following of that particular formula that I created. You can create your own numbers. The thing that needs to be done is we need to stick to and follow and be disciplined to stick to that formula, the formula that we create. But the current price of crude allows for, mate, you don't, that example was $100. You could start this example on $20. It doesn't have to be $100, but it's a matter of looking and creating your own formula and then sticking to your formula, so long as you are buying at a higher price each time you rebuy. That way you're generating an upward moving price. And if your margin isn't so great that it sits for a very long time before you can actually resell it, you can sell it and then rebuy it. You've got to get those two things right, so we have an increase in price with volume. The company also allows us to still use the peer-to-peer process of selling crude for those who can't get onto an exchange. You need to be aware, though, if you're doing it, that you need to base the buying and selling of crude on the market exchange price, because that is the smart contract formula that's put into a smart contract for the conversion. So there's no point in going peer-to-peer and paying an exorbitantly high price for crude, because when you do the conversion, the smart contract is based on the market exchange price. And also, just as an aside, when you're doing peer-to-peer transactions, be cautious and make sure that you know who you're actually dealing with. But price parity makes the conversion of crude to world crude much easier, because the closer to the price of the conditional price of world crude our crude price is, the less expensive it is for people to change. And the company has given us this awesome chance, if we can assist the company in lifting the price, that we get to actually keep the money ourselves. So the capacity to own crude, the capacity, the degree in which we make the buying of crude, it's very, 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 very easy to get into right now. The parity pricing removes the confusion of do you buy it from UGPay or do you buy it from the exchange. Being a non-security item, we can promote Crew in social media. We can promote it. We can promote the dickens out of it because of the fact that it's not subject to the same regulations that World Crew is. And because it is tradable and because we can do it peer-to-peer, it also isn't subject to the same smart contract conditions that have to be operated through UGPay. We all know, and this is a very, very common thing with all exchanges, that we know that prices go up like they're going upstairs, but they come down like they're going out the window. We all know that. And as we wrap up, if we know that that's what happens with price, and we have the mindset that we know where Everrich is going, we know what the new economic evolution of the world is about, we have the correct mindset. If we develop the right skill sets to know how to work an exchange, know what the numbers mean on an exchange, we have the discipline to follow those things through and to be not sidetracked and not react emotionally to things. As Crew owners, we can assist the company in the management of the scarcity of the economic scarcity of Crew. We can help the company create an incredible desire for the world to actually want to own Crew. And we can create the capacity of converting Crew to World Crew. We can make it a lot more simple for people. And if we're doing that, while we're doing that, the company gives us this incredible opportunity to make money. And the company does that because they know that if all of these things come to pass, if these things happen, that good news is going to spread through the crypto world like wildfire. It is just going to be, exchanges will pick up Crew. It will shoot up things like CoinMarketCap. It will capture the attention and the imagination of people who are looking at in the crypto world for things to buy into and invest. And in doing that, we will attract so many more people and money to Everrich. And Michelle, that ends this presentation. So we'll take it up and go into question and answers.
Thank you so much, Richard. What an amazing idea. And let's all put a plus in the chat to say thanks to Richard and showing some love. Great concept and idea. And I'm definitely going to take that on because I'm always learning from Richard. So thank you so much. Yay! So good to see so much support that we get here. So let's start with questions and answers, guys. Anybody want to start? Oh, look at all the love you've got, Richard. It's so cool. Love it. I'm the woman. Sylvester, okay, you have to unmute yourself. Oh, and ask the question.
Sorry, I was just saying thank you so much for Richard, and I touched the wrong button.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Anybody else got any questions? No. There you go.
I think you must have nailed it, Richard. No question.
That's it.
I've got two questions.
Okay,
Sam,
two questions.
Okay, go Tom.
Yeah, two questions. The first one is how long will these, or should this period, this period of time last before the Crew can be changed into World Crew? I mean, they will rise up to that value. Yeah, and they are wished or wanted by everybody. And another question is that, which is not a question. I mean, it has been a real nice listening, both of you, and I would like to find this beautiful lesson also on YouTube or somewhere. Can you give us some indication where we can find it, since you have been recording it? Sorry,
What I'll do is
I finished.
I'll post the link. I'll post the link in the chat. So if you subscribe to our channel, you'll be able to just every video we'll ever do, like webinar, we put up there.
Yes,
so
I did for the others, but I take care about this because it's it was really very interesting. I'm closing it. Okay, I hope I shut up.
Okay, no, that's all right. No, we're here to answer questions. The answer to your first question is, we as members totally control when the parity of crew on the exchange will equal world crew. The company have listed the dates that world crew, the price that world crew is going to be on any given date, right up to the 1st of September. And it's up to us as members to start reacting to that.
Incentivate all this, yes. Okay, then. I got it.
But it's totally our decision. But one of the things that we need to bear in mind, in just over 8 months, world crew is going to start unlocking. It's going to start to, we're going to start to get released. And so we've got to make sure, seriously got to make sure, that what happened to crew does not happen to world crew. That when it becomes a market-driven price, that we have educated ourselves, we have got a mindset, we have got a skill set and a discipline that is not going to let what happened to crew happen to world crew. It's really, really important.
Very clear. Clear. I got it.
Beautiful.
Now, I can tell you. Can I offer you anything? I'm going to eat something. I'm hungry.
Okay, move on.
Look at that. I'll post the link in the oh, it's amazing.
Next time, okay?
Okay, next time. Just virtual food. I love it. I'll just post the link in the chat for you. So if you just click on that link and subscribe to our channel, you'll be able to get a notification when we upload this video.
Okay.
Send that to you.
I will find that on Facebook.
Great.
And Tom?
Yeah, absolutely. You can put it on Facebook and anything.
You had a question, mate?
Yeah.
Tom? Yep.
Michelle, I had my question written down in the chat, and I already got an answer from Pranoy. He is a programmer. I said, wouldn't it be a smart idea for us to write a small part of code to do the trading automatically? What Richard was talking about. I know there were some other sites that already have that kind of code. If Pranoy says he is a programmer, if he is able to work with you to make that code for us as co-owners, then we can all put in the code to work with a few dollars and get price up real quick.
No, look, I mean, I think like trading bots are very, very popular, but at the moment, I think, and I'm more than happy to be corrected on this, the exchange is still very immature. If you look at the prices, you'll see, if you actually look at the volumes, they are so spasmodic. You'll see little spikes, you'll see them jump, they'll see nothing. You can see until we get consistency, and the consistency can only be created by people actually creating a formula, and it doesn't matter what the formula is. I've presented a formula. It doesn't have to be that one, but it needs to be one that you create, but then you stick to it. Yeah, the discipline of sticking to it and following it through is what starts to create volume. If I got a few dollars today, I'm going to do something today, and then you don't do anything, if it's hit and miss, it doesn't create consistency. And what happens when something isn't consistent, when someone's looking to put some crew on the market, instead of looking at a market and saying, you know what, the price is 3 cents at the moment, but it's been going up for the last week and a half. I'm confident that it's going to keep going up, so I'll sell my crew for 4 cents. If they're not confident that things are going to go up, they then have the other thought where they think, I'm just going to get whatever I can get for it. And that's what drives the price down. So we've got to start to create, a consistent upward moving price. So then people are confident to put in a higher value and a higher value, and eventually we will sort of start kicking it up to the world crew price.
You mean that our actions? Oh, sorry. Our actions will get a feedback. Will make a feedback in people. I mean, they will answer if our actions are already more or less the same, following a certain pattern. Is that right?
Yep, that's what they do. People will,
Yes.
if they see the pattern starting to form, they will be happy. They will happily continue with it. It's when you can't see a pattern, that's when people get nervous.
That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Henning, sir.
Henning.
Hello, guys.
Hey, mate.
Hello.
Wonderful presentation, Richard. I really was impressed by the spreadsheets. My question is kind of twofold. Can the same thing, we're trying to raise the price of crew, but I'd also like to try to raise the price of UNTB. And I noticed it's dropping quite rapidly for different reasons. And my first guess is that people are selling that to buy crew. But can that same spreadsheet be applied to the UNTB to help raise it?
Yeah, absolutely, totally. The thing that it requires, Hannah, is it requires the discipline of people to stick to it, and that's you've got to create a plan. Doesn't matter what the plan is, you've got to create a plan, and then you've got to stick to it. One of the biggest failings with people when they start trading is they're not disciplined. They react, they see a price going down. What happens if you see a price going down? The first thing you should do is look to see, is there volume attached to that price? Or is it just some one person has just gone and dumped a whole lot of crew? But people don't look at that. They see the price going down and they think, oh shit, it's going down. Next minute they start selling it because they look at something. And the exact same thing happens when price goes up. If price goes up and there's no volume attached to it, it's some person that's just spiked the price. People get onto that. We need to understand, and this is where the skill set needs to be improved, is to go and look at the volume to see whether the volume matches the interest in the price. Now, if we know that those two things have got to go together, then we create the volume by having more turnover. So you take a smaller percentage and turn it over more, you will create volume. And that's the trick that what we have to do. Did it make sense?
Yes, it does.
And you can do it for UNTB. You can actually do it for any token, any security token, or any token.
part two of my question. With the release of all of the rewarded crew that's happening right now to some people, and of course some other people are still waiting, what are your thoughts on what effect that amount of crew will have? Because I don't see too many people converting it right now. Will it show up in the market? Will it get staked, or will it get sold? And how can we take advantage of that?
Okay, I think it will. Most people, it'll get staked. Most people who did the Aventi staking, I think, have a belief in what the company is on about. So they have a belief that the company's got an idea and they've got a focus for the future. So I think most people will stake it for UNTB and hope that the price goes up. But the point of what we're trying to do tonight is simply hoping that it will go up isn't necessarily going to make it go up. We actually have to be active in buying and selling it. And even if we're making just little percentage gains before we sell it, we actually have to create that movement upwards. We've got to create that volume, create that upward movement. And then as it gathers momentum and traction, it then takes over from us having to actually create it. It then takes over because the market then becomes its own driven force as people see the price going up and also the people getting involved in it and the volume going up and up and up. But initially, it's something that we have to do, and we have to have the discipline to actually do it. We have to have the discipline to not sell it cheap because it's turned. We need to know that the first thing you got to look at is there volume attached to that turn? Is this a big thing, or is it just someone is doing some profit taking and simply they're just doing that? Some people will do it. They will sell at a high price specifically to generate cash. So when the price drops, they can buy back in cheap. But they know, if they're smart, they know that there will people who will copycat a downward trend because the people are scared. They see something going down and they jump on. Now, if they can get a couple more points down, great. They're going to make more money because their intention was always to buy it again, to send it back up again. But because that's an individual thing and we don't have a collective group of people moving it up, continually moving it up, that's why we get these massive ups and downs on our exchange in the price of crew right now, because it's not disciplined. The movement isn't disciplined.
Richard, when you say we, you're referring to everyone in our group. But when I think of we, I think of everyone in the company. And I noticed a chat comment by someone, I didn't pick up who it was, that said it's too bad that the company isn't doing exactly what you're doing to the entire membership and perhaps posting it in the back office, perhaps post some of the highlights of these videos so that everyone in the company could see this and we might get a lot more movement from more educated people.
Yeah, well, that's true. But we had, Michelle, upwards of nearly close to 4,000 people look at our last week's webinar. So if we can match that, those numbers that I produced as those numbers, that was on 3, 7 and 1,500 people. Well, if we can reach out and touch 3,000 people and get half of them to just commit to $100 and discipline commitment, we start to create a difference. So when I say we, I actually think the entire people that are totally involved in the new economic evolution of the world. I think of them, but because I know that when we say we, this is going to be seen by a lot more people than just the people in this room.
is there something we can do? And this will be my last point. Is there something we can do as a group where each one of us let's forward this link to everyone we know and ask them to forward the link? And
if you give them the video channel, like I posted in the chat earlier, there's all our back videos, and if they start watching like even last week's one and this week's one, that would be wonderful, because like the only way we're going to get the price up is to all do it together. Like we've got to sort that bug out to begin with. Like the 12-cent bug that's going on, that's got to change really immediately. And I'm really being proactive in the testing group to get that sorted out. And I've even emailed our moms and said, you need to jump into this one, because we need to have the price barrier lifted so we can sell our crew for over to 12 cents, and that needs to happen right now. So I think that will happen very quickly, but we need to like really encourage people to stop selling at the low prices they are. And I don't know what else we can do, but I really hope there's people out there that just keep saying, don't sell at 1 cent, don't sell at 2 cents, sell at 30 cents, start at 30 cents. So that's what we're hoping to achieve. Right, Richard?
all right, thanks, guys.
Yep.
So Jay, you're next. You've got your hand up.
Sanjeev?
So Jay, if you want to unmute yourself and
Yep.
that's it.
Ma'am, good evening, sir. Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
I am Sanjay
Welcome.
Singh Chauhan from Mumbai, India.
Cool.
I am fond of both of you. I have heard your last week's webinar as well. And post your webinar, the price has moved up from 125 to 220 in a very quick succession within a couple of hours. But unfortunately, I believe somebody is manipulating, or whatever they are doing at the exchanges, they brought down again, cracking it again to 130 somewhere. So what I want to say, that somewhere company needs to, come into this picture, putting full blame on the partners, clients, managers. They believe that partners are selling. Oh, this is not fair. Why I'm saying this? Because the confidence level is really very down. I'm a leader manager based at Mumbai. I worked very hard in this. I have sold my CR. My teammates bought CRs at 40 cents. Now, see, so we talk of new economic evolution of the world. We are creating a lot of positivity across the globe. And if people are not making money, then they will spread negativity about us. And it doesn't happen like it doesn't work. And you see a back office, UG page, not able to sell any WCRs right now. People are not having confidence. It's not moving up. So somewhere, somebody has to come in and, make a positive environment. Almost 3-4 months gone by, people converted, certain people left over. And now the rates is so exorbitant that I don't think anybody will be able to convert and pay this fees to the UG pay. So, ma'am, your and Richard sir's, webinar so good that we need to bring the price of CRU up. Then we alone won't be able to sustain this, because we are small players. Somebody has to chip in, make it that it is a scarce resource. CRU has got a worth. Company may make it at a cryptocurrency like to the ecosystem. Something needs to done with this CRU, ma'am. Otherwise, it will languish like here only. And people who couldn't convert or miss the conversion, they won't be able to make any money out of this. And company won't be able to sell WCRs as well. Because, there will be a crisis of confidence, madam. Here right now, what I feel, people are not having that, courage and confidence to buy at 50 cent WCR. Everybody is fearing that once it comes in market on February, 2022, it will again crash. Now people will again be getting trapped. So, madam, I don't understand how I can put it myself to you and to sir. But something
Okay, but
I believe is not going in a very proper way right now, ma'am.
okay, but that's what we talk about right at the very start, is the mindset that we need to have. That if your mindset is that crew belongs in the garbage, then sell your crew and get out. Because there's a whole heap of us that don't have that mindset, and we're frustrated by people who continually sell it cheap. I will take every cheap crew I can get off people who don't respect the price of crew. Just go, just leave. And let those that actually have a mindset of wanting to help the company lift, wanting to help crew lift, wanting to help each other lift. Now, and Michelle and I, we've decided that, look, we're going to kick the ball off. We're going to start the ball rolling. Hopefully we do. And that's what last week was designed to do. Hopefully this week we'll continue it. And if people, more and more people see this webinar, it's not that complicated what we have to do. It's not that hard. We just have to do it and be disciplined and not fearful of doing it. But that's something that you only get by the mindset that you can create of not being fearful.
Sir,
So that's the point.
I have personally great confidence in the company and the philosophy of the company. That is the reason I work through and raise the rank. I have no personally problem. My idea was to put the sentiment of the community which I come across. You see, we need to work within the people only, na. Our ideas have value when they also recognize that. Now it becomes very difficult for people to tell them and sell the WCRUs. You see, my question is not I have full faith in the philosophy of the company and I work very hard. I am holding my CRUs and I'm holding a good quantity, sir, and I have great faith. My question not for self. My question is for the community, I mean, because somewhere, sir, as you are also working and I'm also trying to push hard that the community, the philosophy, the management of company is very good. We are working on an idea. So I'm fully positive, sir. 100% positive with this, associated with the community and the company and working hard. I am trying to tell you the idea, which since I work at ground level, I want to put more people into the WCRU, sir. So they are all just waiting for the price to reach. Once the confidence get restored, we will get lot many people coming in. That's what you're saying. That's what you are also saying. That once this parity comes
the point that I just got to cut you across because we got to move to other people too. The point that you said, and this is the telling point, is that people are buying it and holding it. Buying crew and holding it doesn't create volume. Buying crew and waiting for it to go up doesn't create volume. Buying crew and selling it creates volume. Buying crew and selling it for a small increase and then selling it and rebuying it creates volume. You can't buy something, sit on it, and think that it's going to go up in value because you're sitting on it. It doesn't create a desire. It doesn't create a visible volume by simply buying it and sitting on it. You're just wasting. It's just not going to happen until we start creating a visible turnover of crew and visible interest and an increasing price. We're never going to create the desire for people to own it. Buying it and holding it and hoping that the price goes up is not the mindset that we have to have. We have to have a mindset that is geared towards creating visible volume. And that means you've got to buy it and you got to sell it. And you just got to make a profit when you do it. And you keep doing that and you have the discipline to keep doing it and keep doing it. And eventually, and we're not talking about if somebody does it today, we talk about it today. It's not going to happen next week. You've got to have the discipline to say that I'm going to start doing something today, even though the result of what I start today may not become visible for a month from now. But if we don't somewhere start doing it, it's never going to materialize. So you can't buy crew and hold it. You've got to buy it and sell it. That creates volume.
Sir, 100% agreement with you, sir. Just last point to add only, sir, before we move up, sir. Once the price goes up now, it will be a great success for all of us. I am 100% with you. If the CRU price somehow moves up now, again, the positivity will come across the globe. And I think we will be able to sell a lot of WCRUs and a lot of people will be again, coming and our communities. Registrations will go up. And I'm 100% with you, sir. I'll keep watching your webinars, your this series, and let's see, sir, if we can get something great and good out of this, sir.
Yep,
Thank
okay,
you, sir.
thank you.
Talking to you,
Good
sir.
on you.
Can I just throw my comments in, saying, Deb, first of all, thank you for being a leader manager. That's congratulations. That's a great to be. I'm very proud of you. And I was wondering, like, are you in our Telegram group?
Yeah, ma'am, I'm there, ma'am. No, not in,
Okay,
I think
so
your Telegram group, but Unitex and Global Unit Pay, ma'am, I in all this Telegram group, I'm there. I think I'm not in your group, ma'am, maybe. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, we'll put the link in the chat. So please, first of all,
I'll add on,
join.
Yeah, ma'am.
And I'd like you to invite your team and get into the discussion in our Telegram group about that, so we can all help motivate your team to buy and sell. And that's what Richard and I want to try and do, is and use that group to try and get people to start creating some volume and start learning about what we have, rather than getting like allowing people to sell at such a low price. Like they once people realise what they've lost, they're going to be so upset.
Most of us are actually not traders, we are all investors like into it. So we we don't move much onto the exchange, like they are all invested, and there are some doctors are there in my
team. We want you
team.
to try.
Yeah,
we want you to learn to try, so we can create volume.
We've got to move on to other
let's
people.
Go to Connor.
But yeah, you've got to be buying and selling to create volume. You cannot rely on someone else to do what you want. You have to, if you want it, you have to go do it. Connor?
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you.
So for the strategy going forward, is it best for us to put in limit orders? Or like, I assume the premium Telegram bot's gonna let us know when prices hit. Do you think it's gonna be best to wait for the price to hit and sell from market, or put in limit orders ahead of time?
Yeah, I mean, I put in limit orders only because I'm that busy. I don't have time to sit and actually watch the market. So, I mean, I'll put in a limit order. If I come back and my limit order's been filled, then I know what my next step is. I know what the price is I'm looking for. So I'll put a reordering at a little bit lower than what I sold it for, because what I'm trying to create is a higher buy price each time I put a new buy price in. I never will buy crude for a price cheaper than what I've already bought it for once before. I'll just sit on it. I've just got them all just sitting there waiting, because you're just defeating yourself to rebuy crude at a lower price than what you bought it for one time before.
Okay, cool.
Next, anybody else? Someone else put their hand up before.
Anybody else?
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah,
hello.
Yeah.
Go.
Yes, so for the CRU, so I know you mentioned earlier, what happened to CRU when it get unlocked and came on our exchange, and the price dropped, right? For CRU, knowing that I guess next year is going to start to unlock. I know for the co-owners, we have a responsibility as well, like to not sell low or to drop the price. But from the company side, what is do you know if any plans, what the company is planning to do to try to mitigate that scenario in terms of having the CRU price fall when it's released?
Yeah. No, I mean the company do a fair bit. We're going to see in October, we're going to see the new appraised investment audit report. The company, we get an update on the investment portfolio every month. We get to see both open and closed meetings every month. The company do produce a staggering, now the company, we're splitting up all of the different companies into individual companies. So you're going to be able to watch what's happening with Ugain. You'll be able to watch what's happening with digital guarantees. The company are making each of these components of the company very, very obvious. But if the members aren't looking at these videos, if the members aren't reading the news, if the members aren't participating, and that's where, as members, we need to encourage other members to start reading these things, start looking at them, asking questions, talking one another about it. If we've got a downline, we need to be talking to our downlines and bringing them up to speed. So when the World Crew does hit the market, and it's a market-driven price, the people who are in that market are way more educated than what we are right now with the price of crude. And we got 8 months. We got 8 months for people to get their head around that and learn how to do that. And that's why we wanted to start. Michelle and I wanted to start now. Because it's going to be a slow process, but it's one of those processes that when you start, it starts slowly. You put an awful lot of work in it, an awful lot of effort, and sometimes it appears like it's not working. And that's when the discipline that we all should have as co-owners, the discipline then takes over, and we keep doing it. And eventually, the benefit pays off, but that benefit we might start it tonight, but it might not pay out for 6 months from now. But there's no reason for us not to start tonight.
I've actually got a suggestion. Why don't we start a bit of a group thing in our Telegram group and motivate everyone, that wants to try it, and they can ask questions, and we can just start the roll. Like, if anyone's interested in just do it, even if we can get like 1,000 people doing this, or even 500. I think big numbers. So maybe we could, like we've got a couple of our admins here, Shirak and Connor. So maybe we can start encouraging people to, like, let's motivate each other and set our prices and start, gaining some volume so we can start pushing the price up. And so, Jerry, I hope you join our group and join us. And once you learn, then you can teach your team how to do that.
That's the whole purpose of it, is just to kick an idea, put an idea on the table and kick it around. It doesn't have to be that formula that we presented today. It just has to be something that works for you, that you then are disciplined to keep doing day in, day out. When those prices are reached, you then do your rebuy, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing it. And eventually, as one person does it, 10 people do it, 50, 200, 500, then suddenly there is quite a noticeable difference on the exchange.
Okay, well, why don't we have a set number of, let's start with 10, and then just let's go, let's build up. I'll jump in and I'll start first. I must admit, I've been one of those people that have been holding my crew and sitting there in WCRU and just waiting. But now, after listening to Richard, I'm going to do exactly I'm going to use his formula and spreadsheet and start making an active effort to help create volume, because we've all got to do it.
Yeah.
As a community, we've all got to have a go and try and push that price up. And I'll also keep asking for that little barrier that's stopping us from going higher than 13 cents or 12 cents, sorry, to be lifted from Maria's group.
Yeah, thanks for this presentation, because all I've been doing since I got into Crew and World Crew, I've been just taking everything from ever since. I haven't been doing anything else.
Right.
Well, the only thing that I've done on the exchange is when the prices are very low, I'll buy as much as I can. And then once I buy it, I just push it over to my wallet and stake it and just leave it there. And that's all I do.
Oh, thanks, Sharon. That was very nice of you.
In fairness, that's what a lot of people have been told to do, to buy it and hold it. But the unfortunate thing of buying and holding doesn't create volume. It doesn't create something that people can see. And we're only talking about $100. If you have all of what you've gotten, bought and held, but then sort of say, okay, I am going to allocate $100 or $50 or $20 to the concept of creating volume. That's the discipline. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to allocate this money, and I am going to spend it, and then I'm going to reinvest it, and I'm going to keep doing it. That's the purpose of this money. And then have the discipline to actually do that. And it's easy when you've got a little amount, but the bit that becomes hard, and I know it because I've done this for years with trading, it's all of a sudden when you've done a few trades and you're reinvesting $700 or you're reinvesting $500 and you have got 6 things in your head that you could be spending that money on that is not reinvesting in crew. You've got a power bill to pay, or you've got a phone bill to pay, you've got some other bill that you've got to pay, but you have to have the discipline to say, no, this money was set aside for the purpose of reinvesting. That's what I set it up for. And that's where it gets tough, but that's where the discipline and the sticking to the rules and the mindset and the skill set and creating those things, that's where we make a difference as a co-owner. And we're not saying put all of your money into doing that. If you want to put some money in and then you sell it and then you get to a certain amount of money and you take it out and pocket it, great. But what we're saying is with a certain amount of it, and I nominated $100 in that example, you determine that is never, ever, ever going to be anything else other than reinvested and reinvested and reinvested, and you keep doing that all the time. That's the discipline we've got to have.
Thanks, Sharon. I just saw Sharon's message in the chat. So Sharon Faithful, thank you.
Okay.
Let's say
Anybody
that.
else?
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah, mate.
Yes. Let's say, for example, that bag which is on the exchange is being fixed. What will be the good price to the limit order to start with? Let's say, for example, I don't know exactly how much is the crew on exchange now. If that bag is fixed, would be nice to put the high limit order, the price of the conditional WCRU, or just start by small, and
no. Your initial order, unfortunately, like they can lift the price to 30 cents. It doesn't matter if you put an order in for 30. There's lots of people that you were able to at one stage be able to do. That's a bug that's developed. That's not going to create volume because that's just going to sit there until the price gets to it. What we need to do is if the price was $1.30, 1.32 cents right now, that's our buying price. The exchange creates the buying price. The bit that we can alter, you can set your formula to say, okay, my X price, my buying price is whatever the exchange is now. My Y price, which is my selling price, in my example, I put it in at 15%. You could put 20%, you could put 10%, you could put 8%. It doesn't matter what it is. And your rebuy price, how much it's down off your selling price, it doesn't matter, provided you maintain the discipline of carrying it forward. See, there's no point in at 1.32 cents saying when it gets to 100%, I'll then sell it, because it's going to take too long to get up there. So, and that's not going to create volume. What we're trying to do is to create volume. So volume is created by turnover. So you've got to have a whole lot of little things. And then once volume starts to be generated regularly and the volume amount starts to increase, then you can adjust your formula. Instead of it being 15%, you might take it out to 20%. And instead of being the rebuy 5% lower than sell price, you might take it to 3%. You can take it to 8%. You can fiddle around once the action that we're doing takes effect. But there's no point in putting a 30% buy price, because it's going to be weeks before we get to there. So no, you're not going to create volume by putting 30 cents on your buy price right now. It won't do any, it won't have any impact.
Thank you so much. I got you.
So have we got any more questions? We might call it.
All right, then we might call that then. And we can do, you know, we can do other webinars where we can do strategies. We can talk about how we glean. There's an enormous amount of information on that Unitex site. We can do another webinar at some stage about how to look at that information, how to find and extract information from Unitex to help us plan strategies. We can do all of that stuff in other webinars if there's an interest to do that sort of stuff. But that's what we need to do right now. Right now we need to be creating volume and an increase in price. So with that,
thank you so much.
I love Anders' guitar. I'm watching him like strum his guitar in the background. I'm going, yeah, it's so cool. Next time we're on a webinar, you are so playing for us.
Okay.
Okay, guys.
Thank you so much.
All righty, people.
Join our Telegram.
Is Hannah still there?
Bye-bye. See you later, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Thank you.